Also, Herbert has a chance to win MVP here.
Not really.
Yes, he does.
Not really.
He's 5th right now.
What if he beats Lamar Jackson? Bingo.
Vikings at Bears.
Oh.
Caleb hasn't thrown an interception in 4 games. That's good. Bad news. Hasn't thrown a touchdown in 4 games. Let's look at his numbers during this 4-game losing streak. Not great, although last week was a step in the right direction. Nick, you can go first here. This is the money ball.
Oh, okay. This is our last one?
Maybe.
Listen, so I think the Bears, the 2 last play of the game losses, wrecked any even somewhat playoff hopes. So I feel similarly about this week as I did last week. It is less important the result of the game and more important the performance of Caleb. Like, if you're a Bears fan, the playoff hopes are done. And so would you prefer, I know last week was oddly somewhat low scoring, but Caleb had 300 total yards, played, I thought, the best game he had played in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And what you care about is Caleb continuing on that trajectory.
True.
And so if you lose 28-24 but Caleb plays great, I think Bears fans will feel better than if they win 10-7. And you know what I mean? And it's like Titans game in week 1 where the defense scores and Caleb does nothing. So I think the Bears are sadly in a different portion of their season now because at 4-6, their playoff hopes are dead in that conference.
Is it too much to ask for both? Caleb plays well. I mean, he's the #1 pick. He's
The Vikings
Mr.
are
Dynamite.
8-2. The Vikings.
They got Sam Darnold at quarterback. You talk about a civilian? That's a civilian. All right?
I agree, but they also have a defensive scheme that your guy Brock Purdy said was crazy.
Some teams have started to score on that scheme lately, and I'm just saying he's lost 4 straight games, Caleb, so this is a must-win. 4 straight losses. I get it that it's all about him learning and improving, but you want to start tasting victory, especially when other rookies. Jaden Daniels has his team in the playoffs. He beat you. Bo Nix almost beat the Chiefs. And last year they thumped the Atlanta Falcons, who are looking like a pretty decent team, I mean a playoff team in the NFC. So can you show us, Caleb, that you can beat a good team?
Can I?
Because here's the teams he's beaten. Oh. Jacksonville, 2 wins. Carolina, 3 wins. Tennessee, 2 wins. The Rams without Puka Nacua and Cooper Rush. And we know that Matt Stafford turns the goo without those guys.
Can I say something real quick about just the difference in expectations? Bo Nix and Caleb Williams played games against teams that one of us has in the Super Bowl. Both lost because the other team blocked a field goal. And Brew, when talking about the Bo Nix, said they almost won. And the Caleb one, it's just the latest game in the losing streak. That's the difference of expectations.
No, the Packers aren't the Chiefs. As much as I think they can get to the Super Bowl, they're not the Chiefs.
Right, but they're your divisional rival, a really good team. Caleb lost 20-19 on a blocked field goal. Bo Nix lost 16-14 on a blocked field goal. That is a plus column
Nix
for Bo.
threw 2 touhdowns in that game. How many Caleb throw against the Packers?
They ran it in from the one.
Okay,
like that's
It's not a Bo Nix, Caleb. It's the Caleb in must-win for Caleb. It's not a must-win for Caleb. Actually, I agree with you. It's a must perform well for Caleb. And here's a couple reasons why. Because you're going to have a new coach. You're going to have a new play caller, potentially. Like, you want to show whoever's coming in that you have the goods. You not only want to sell it to the fans and your teammates and who's in the locker room, but you want to have a coach that's coming in excited about what they're going to be embracing. And when you look at your schedule, you got 5 division games left.
Oh, yeah.
You might have the toughest remaining schedule in the National Football League. Caleb, are you the 4th best quarterback in your division? And I'm saying that present day right now because Sam Darnold, regardless of how we all feel about him, he's played better than you this year to this point. Jared Goff, we know he's better than you right now. And when you look in Green Bay,
J-Lo, of course.
Jordan Love, he's better than you right now. So who are you and who will you become? You got to play better.
better than all of them.
Okay. Can we just relax? First off, I totally agree. I shouldn't say I totally agree. I agree. I was going to say I completely agree with Nick Wright, but then he kept talking and it's like, well, now I can't. But listen, there's a lot of truth being said, but there's also a lot of wrong being said. And I actually said what Greg had said before about that you want to start to play well because you want to be able to signal, more importantly, not even just the fans. I mean, yeah, the fans are important, but at the end of the day, you're trying to attract like a great coach. And so you need to show another offensive head coach, another offensive mind in general, hey, I'm good enough. This is just a weird situation. Because otherwise, you could have a great coach who's like, I don't like what I'm seeing here. I'm not going to go waste my time and try to have to figure out that mess in Chicago. But if you play good, you signal to them that, you're for real. And so you're going to attract a higher quality coach. That's a very real thing. So that's that aside. So I do agree with that. But here's also the reality. And this is where it's not fair. And this is kind of what Greg is saying, and this is kind of what Brew is saying, although Brew is saying it like much more firmly of like, you got to win, you got to do this, you got to do that. And it's like, no, you don't. The season has been a mess. They have completely fumbled whatever they had plans with Caleb Williams. Whether you want to blame Caleb or not, because everyone keeps flip-flopping. Who to blame more? Is it 80% Caleb? Is it 30% Caleb? Is it Shane Waldron? Like, who is it? I'm not getting in that debate anymore. I've already unpacked that plenty. But no one can argue that it's been a gigantic mess. And since it's been such a gigantic mess, you can't put all the blame on Caleb. And so now you're getting a new OC, which at this point may as well be a new head coach. That is a very big deal to have now another offensive mind, another coordinator, another voice in the ear, another person who you're going to be texting and spending late nights with and looking at film, doing whatever. It's a completely different person now. It's a different thing entirely. It's not an easy thing for a rookie quarterback. Bo Nix. Caleb Williams is literally trying to figure out how to be an NFL quarterback, and now he's going to be getting new information. That you're going to have their now current OC be like, oh, forget about what Shane said. This is what you need to do. Like it just gets so messy right now. So to expect him to be able to just thrive with succeeding with flying colors, I just don't think that's fair. I don't care how generational or how unbelievably great you think this guy will be. This is a brutal situation to be in for a young quarterback. Whether it was Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, it doesn't matter. Brady, having consistency and a great, competent voice to guide you is crucial. Absolutely crucial in any aspect of life. Whether you're a child, whether you're in the NFL, like it doesn't matter. You need that stability. He does not have that stability. So yeah, this is if anything, if he succeeds and plays well, it should bode even higher. People should even have higher expectations of him. Because for him to overcome all of that would be incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive. And so I agree with Nick, though, on the other side, where it's like, yeah, you would rather Caleb play great and them lose versus them winning 10-9 and Caleb looking kind of rocky, 10 for 20, right? Like 175 yards, 1 touchdown and an interception and 3 sacks. Like you wouldn't want that either. This season is no longer about, hey, we can win. Let's do the math. We can get in the wild card. Like it's no longer about that. It's really not. So and the reality is if you like Caleb, you're going to defend him this season. And if you don't like Caleb, you're going to use everything against him. But I also disagree with Nick, though, about the whole idea of comparing the Packers to the Chiefs. Oh, it's the same thing. They both lost by a field goal in divisional games. Please tell me in what world does Nick Wright think that the Kansas City Chiefs is equal to the Green Bay Packers? Like, what? And didn't the Bears play at home as well? And the Kansas City Chiefs, the Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos had to go on the road. Nick thinks that Bo Nix is not a good quarterback. That team is not a good roster relative to what the Chicago Bears have, the weapons that they have. So comparing them, it doesn't even make sense in this context. And I think Caleb Williams was very impressive in that game against the Packers. In multiple games, he showed the ability to come back, to put his team in a position to win. He's shown that he has that clutch in him. It hasn't come away with him. He hasn't gotten the outcome, but Caleb Williams has shown that. He stepped up big time against the Packers, big time. And quite frankly, he came back in against that game against the Washington Commanders. You can probably blame him a little bit for that botched handoff, which then was that fumble. Doesn't, honestly, at this point, it doesn't even matter. But he's shown some really great things. He's shown some really bad things as well, right? That's undeniable. But he's shown that he has enough in him that you can give him compliments. That you can say, okay, there's something here there. And yeah, you want to see him continue to prove that. But going up against the Minnesota Vikings, a divisional game, that defense is legit. Brian Flores is legit. People are talking about that he's going to be slated to be a head coach himself. That defense was ruthless. Had been. I know it's maybe not exactly how it was in the beginning of the season, but like, I don't know, this idea that it's now like a weak defense, like, I disagree with that. They relatively speaking, considering what the Lions do to some teams, like the Vikings stood their ground completely. So this game is not going to be easy. And going up against the tough Packers, and then the Vikings, and then the Lions, and then who knows what the heck the 49ers are, but then you have the Vikings again, and then the Lions again. Like, those aren't going to be easy games. And you know the Lions are going in there for smash mouth. I mean, you know they want to send a message and just destroy everyone. That's their whole MO. So to think that Caleb Williams has to survive this gauntlet now in order to prove to everyone that he's this great quarterback, nah, I'm just not going to buy into that. Like I said, if you believe in Caleb, you'll defend him through the next, 5, 6, however many weeks. And if you don't like Caleb, you'll use every single loss and failure, interception, turnover, incompletion as a way to be like, ha ha, told you he's a bust. And it's just like, no one's going to convince someone the opposite. They're just not. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears? Do you think that this is a must-win game for Caleb? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.